Hi, welcome to my channel. In this video, we will build a complete OTP, one-time password system, using Python language. The program will generate a random verification code and send a message to WhatsApp using API. In this program, I will use Wasender API, which is one of the best existing platforms that provides WhatsApp API. By searching on the internet for a cheap and easy-to-use platform that provides WhatsApp API, I found Wasender API, which is one of the best platforms in terms of registration. The registration process is very simple. Within a few minutes, I can get WhatsApp API. In addition to this, Wasender API is one of the cheapest platforms on the internet that provides WhatsApp API. You can register on this platform, and you will notice that the prices are very affordable. First, I will register. I choose Get Started, then Continue with Google. After that, I create a name for the session. For example, I call it OTP Project. Then I specify the country, add the phone number, and save the content. Now I will let WhatsApp scan the QR code. As you can see, the Wasender API platform takes only a few minutes. Within a short time, I am able to get WhatsApp API. Next, I go to the desktop and create a new folder. I name it OTP Project. Then I open Visual Studio Code and choose Open Folder. After that, I create a new file and name it otp.py. The code will be written in Python language. Now, at the beginning, I need to import the libraries. In this code, I will use two libraries that we need for this program. The first library is random, which I use to generate random numbers. Now, through this library, I can generate or create a verification code, which is the OTP. The second library is requests. I use this library to send HTTP requests to the API through the internet. By using it, we can send WhatsApp messages through the API. Now, in the second stage, I need to create a function to generate the OTP. I will call this function GenerateOTP. This function will return a value using return random.randint 100,000 to 999,999. This means the function will generate random numbers consisting of 6 digits, ranging between 100,000 and 999,999. After completing the function, I now need to store its value in a variable. I will call this variable OTP. So, I request the value from the function GenerateOTP, and this variable will store the returned value. Now let's move to the API settings, which include the API key and the phone number. For the API key, I go to the Wasender API platform. As you can see, after logging in and creating a session, the platform provides me with an API key. All I have to do is copy it and go back to the code and assign it to a variable called API key. Next, I need the phone number. In this step, I add the phone number that will receive the message or the verification code. Now, in this stage, I need to specify the URL. I go back to the Wasender API platform, and as you can see, this is the URL used to send messages. All I have to do is copy the send message URL and return to Visual Studio Code, then assign it to a variable called URL. Now we will send the HTTP request. At this stage, I need to create a variable called message. This message will be sent to WhatsApp, and it will contain the text, "Your verification code is OTP." Here, I link the variable with the OTP value to dynamically create the message and send it to WhatsApp. Of course, I treat this value as a string, so it is sent correctly as text, not as a number. Now we move to the stage of setting the headers. As you can see, I define the headers as a list, dictionary. Inside it, I add authorization equals bearer followed by the API key as a variable. Content type equals application/JSON. The headers provide additional information that we send along with the request. The most important part here is authorization because it contains the API key, which allows us to use the service. As for content type, it specifies the type of data we are sending, which in this case is JSON. Next, we move to setting the data. I create a variable called payload. This will be a list dictionary that contains two main elements, to, which represents the phone number, and text, which contains the message. Now we come to the stage of sending the request. Here, the program sends a POST request to the API. I create a variable called response and assign it as follows: requests.post. Then I pass the URL, the headers, and the JSON payload. Finally, we move to displaying the result. I add a print statement, OTP has been sent to WhatsApp. Then I print again, response.text. Here, we display the API response in the terminal, which shows us the result of sending the message. This tells us that the OTP has been sent successfully. We also print the response returned from the API. Now, the program will ask the user to enter the verification code. I create a variable called user OTP and use input, enter the verification code you received. Here, the program asks the user to enter the code that was sent to WhatsApp. The value entered by the user will be stored in the variable user OTP. Now we move to the verification stage. I add a condition if user OTP equals str of OTP. Since the OTP is originally a number, we convert it to a string for comparison. If the condition is correct, I print successfully verified. Otherwise, I print incorrect code. After completing the verification stage, we can now run the code. As you can see, after running the program, within a few seconds, the verification code is sent to WhatsApp. In this way, we've built a simple OTP system using Python language. The program generates a verification code and sends it via WhatsApp using What's API from the WhatSender API platform. Then we receive the code from the user and verify it. As you can see, WhatSender API is a simple and easy-to-use platform. I recommend you try it. Within just a few minutes, I was able to build an OTP system that sends verification codes to WhatsApp. I hope you benefited from this video. Please write in the comments what topic you would like to see in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.